This is the Baroque print design on a black shirt by Versace Jeans Couture, a diffusion line founded by Versace in 1978. Over the past few years, shockingly similar iterations of the same design were made on countless different garments, t-shirts, shirts, scarves, you name it, it's there, by big-time fashion brand, fast fashion brand, Zara. Oh, and this is what I wore for my last semi-formal event. Now, most of us who follow Hollywood know what Kylie Jenner wore for her 21st birthday party. An $8,000 romper by the designer La Bourgeoise embezzled with Swarovski crystals. Of course, it's Kylie Jenner. So the second she posted this outfit on Instagram, the media ate it up immediately, and of course, the outfit was circulated all around the world. Almost immediately, the American fast fashion brand Fashion Nova picked up the same design and released an almost identical romper for only $35. Now, we all know about the tremendous influence that Kylie Jenner has, especially on the youth. So you can only imagine the demand that was created by this dress, especially when it's now available at a cheaper price. Not only Fashion Nova, 9 other fast fashion companies took it upon themselves to create an iteration of this romper. Oh, and by the way, this is what I wore for my 16th birthday party. Fairly similar. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nayonika Choudhury, and today I'm here to talk to you about the environmental detriments of fast fashion. I consider myself an avid environmental advocate. I have given up many practices over the years that contribute to the overarching problems of excessive carbon emissions, plastic waste, and water wastage. I have shifted to low carbon meat. I use bamboo toothbrushes, I only use metal straws and bottles, and I don't accept any plastic packaging whatsoever. In my eyes, I was a perfect example of how one can preserve the planet and cut down on carbon emissions on an individual level. I never really bothered about the type of clothes I wore or where or how they were produced because, well, nobody really does that. I mean, even if they had any environmental impact, like, you can quit using plastic bags. You can't exactly give up wearing clothes, right? And then one day, I was waiting for a friend to pick me up for lunch. So I picked up the newspaper and went to about the 3rd or 4th page. I spotted an article about this whole concept of fast fashion. I didn't really know much about it. This article wasn't particularly high profile, or it wasn't even very revolutionary. It just stated a few facts, but believe me when I say that my jaw literally dropped upon reading it. I went to the mirror in my room and looked at my outfit. This was what I was wearing. Every single article of clothing belonged to a global, multi-chain, fast fashion brand with fast-paced collections, a plethora of products to choose from, and most importantly, styles sported by celebrities, models, and fashion icons on a daily basis. I was shocked that a simple and seemingly harmless choice that I was making on a daily basis went against everything that I stood for. It actually deeply saddened me to think that I, ironically, was part of the problem that I was advocating for the eradication of. But post-learning this information, I vowed to make a change. So let's talk about what exactly fast fashion is. The dictionary defines it as a highly profitable business model that makes copies of catwalk trends and high fashion, mass produces them, and sells them at a really cheap cost. It's an ingenious model if you think about it. Regular people like us, we can't keep up with every single catwalk and high fashion trend because we simply can't afford it, but we don't exactly want to be left behind. So what is someone in our position supposed to do? What if there's a brand that makes almost the similar style for a highly affordable price with 10 different variations of the same product? Wouldn't that be just perfect? Imagine, you're not exactly imitating your favorite celebrity, but it can be said that you guys share the same fashion sense, so automatically you are deemed fashionable and trendy. And what else? Every time Kylie Jenner leaves her house with a newly styled outfit, which is almost every other day, be rest assured, within the next week, you can wear what appears to be the exact same style and pay peanuts for it. It's ideal, right? A super cheap brand that makes you look like a mini celebrity every single time you leave the house. No, absolutely not. Because what happens when you buy like 5 pairs of a certain style of pants and they go out of fashion in a few weeks? What are you going to do? Change up your whole wardrobe again? What happens when you buy a top and after 2 months, not even 2 months, there's a tear in it? You're going to forget about it. In less than 5 months, you're going to discard it, and it's going to end up in a landfill far, far away from you. We must realize as consumers that with cheap price comes cheap quality. And we also have to understand that these trends go out of fashion almost as fast as they come into fashion. And this lightning-paced turnover of clothes has vast negative environmental impacts. For example, over the past 2 decades, clothing production has doubled, and the average consumer buys 60% more garments than what they did 15 to 20 years ago, according to Business Insider. But because of the fast fashion business model, a garment that typically lasts over a year is discarded in no more than 5 months. Can you believe that? After oil, the cotton and textile industry is the largest polluter in the world. It is responsible for 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions. That is more than international flights and maritime shipping combined. In 2018, the fashion industry produced 2.1 billion tons of carbon dioxide. That is 4% of the total carbon emissions that was released that year. That is more than the collective share of Germany, France, and the UK. It takes 2,000 gallons of water to produce 1 pair of jeans. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the jeans that you're wearing right now is made of enough water for one person to easily drink 8 cups a day for the next 10 years. Now, I can go on and on and on about all of these negative impacts, but how do we solve them? How do we, as environmentally aware global citizens, come to the root of the problem? How do we eradicate this problem? The funny thing about this problem is that the solution is already there, right within arm's reach. All we need to do is reach out and grab it with the power that we hold as consumers. We don't need to wait for laws to be passed. We don't need any government intervention. This problem can be solved solely through the power of you. And today, I'm here to introduce 4 methods on how to do so. Number 1, buy less. Fleeting fashion trends are a social concept. This is how big brands get you to buy more and more and more clothes by catering exactly to your interests. But no, you do not need 60 new pieces of clothing every year. You do not need to change up your wardrobe every 6 months. We must realize that every single piece of clothing that is produced and purchased has some or the other negative environmental impact. And we, as buyers, it is our responsibility to reduce that impact as much as we can. This is my favorite quote, actually. The most environmentally sustainable jacket is the one that's already in your closet. Please don't buy another one. Wear that. Now, I'm not telling you to stop buying clothes or forego necessities. All I'm saying is that we, as consumers, have to operate from a more need-based perspective. Number 2, invest in sustainability and quality. Think of every single piece of clothing you buy as a small investment in the planet's future. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and say that you're going to be paying the same prices. I'm telling you right now, it's easy for you to go to the nearest mall and splurge on Zara, H&M, Forever 21, whatever you want. But what happens when the clothing you buy from there tears apart in 2 months? You discard it because, it's out of trend now. You can't wear it anymore. When you invest in sustainability, you invest in quality. Your clothes will last longer. And this is not unlike the organic foods trend of a few years ago. Remember about 10 years ago, it was really hard to come by like organic fruits and vegetables, locally sourced products that were good enough to be eaten by us. And it was just a mess. But now, in every single grocery store, you find organically produced products. And why is that? Because we, as consumers, created a demand for it. The same way, if we demand sustainably grown products, if we demand sustainable clothing will be made available to us. That is just how it works, and that is what we must do as consumers. Number 3, and this is my personal favorite, thrift shopping. Thrifting is the act of buying pre-owned or second-hand clothing in order to increase the lifespan of clothes. There are so many new thrift stores these days that sell premium quality and often branded products for a really cheap price. So the next time you think of discarding a piece of clothing for going out of fashion, put it up on a thrift store. Put it up on a thrifting site. Because I assure you, someone or the other will be more than willing to buy it from you. It is actually the most beneficial type of shopping from the seller's perspective and the buyer's perspective. Because in this way, you can make a profit off of your old clothes and you can also keep up with the latest fashion trends. In fact, this outfit that I'm wearing right now is 100% thrifted. I understand that historically there's been some amount of stigma against thrifting or swapping clothes or exchanging clothes because clothes that have been worn by someone else are usually regarded as old, dirty, and worn out. But as a person who has made a change in her lifestyle, who mainly only thrifts now, I can assure you that that is not true. Does this outfit look old, worn out, and dirty to you? Another thing that we must change as consumers, we need to adapt to new technologies, new ways of thinking that revolutionize the way we perceive things and choose to spend our money. We need to keep an open mind if we want to do better. Number 4, and lastly, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you just cannot wear another piece of clothing, perhaps you've torn it really badly and the stitch you've made is beyond obvious, so thrifting is also out of the option. What if I tell you that you still don't have to discard that piece of clothing? Upcycling is the act of taking what is usually considered waste material and creatively converting it into another product in order to increase its lifespan. One click on Pinterest or Instagram and thousands of examples will present themselves to you as inspiration. You can take your own old denim clothes and DIY reupholster your couch. You can make a kilt out of your old favorite tops. You can use your old stilettos as bookends. The possibilities are endless, and it's all in your hands. Your favorite top for so long, would it look better as a pillowcase in your bedroom, or would it look better as a piece of trash in the landfill? Think about that. There is no plan B, because there is no planet B. A quote that I probably heard in the 3rd grade, but it stuck with me, and for good reason as well. This planet is our only home and will be our only home for a very long time now. So when people deliberately contribute to its pre-existing problems, we make it that much harder for our children. We make it that much harder for the animals whose habitats we have already encroached upon so much. We make it that much harder for the millions of children stuck under the unfortunate circumstance of child labor in developing countries, in sweatshops which produce your clothes, the clothes that you're wearing right now. We make it that much harder for families in developing countries who don't have access to healthcare, who don't have any water or food security or any housing. We make it that much harder for our home to self-heal from the damage that we have inflicted upon it. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to make a choice today. Would you choose a conjured up reality that big brands and this society feed to you? Or would you make a choice that ensures the very existence of the society 50 years from now? When you invest in sustainability, you are not only buying an alternative piece of clothing, you choose less waste. You choose less microplastics in the ocean. You choose better conditions for families in developing countries. You choose a greener planet. You choose better air. You choose better water. You choose a cooler planet. You choose the continuity of icebergs. You choose existence. So, ladies and gentlemen, I implore on you today, choose existence. Thank you.